Okay, what if I told you that the most powerful creative force in your entire life is something you're using right now, this very second? It's your thoughts. Today, we're diving into James Allen's classic, As a Man Thinketh. It's a short book, but man, it's built on one massive idea. You don't just have thoughts, you literally are your thoughts. And getting your head around that, well, it can change absolutely everything. So let's just jump right in with the big question this book puts right in your face. I want you to think about your life, like right now. All the good stuff, all the challenges. Are those things just happening to you, or are your circumstances actually a product of you? That's the puzzle we're going to piece together today. And you know what? James Allen gives a straight up answer. No beating around the bush. He says, and I quote, "A person is literally what she thinks." Think about that. His whole philosophy is built on this. You're not just influenced by your thoughts, you are made of them. Your character, who you are at your core, is just the grand total of all your thoughts. So that leads us right into our first big idea, the incredible power of thought. According to Allen, everything, and I mean everything, you are, everything you do, it all starts as this tiny hidden seed inside your mind. And hey, if your thoughts are the cause of it all, guess what that means? It means you're in the driver's seat. You're the one with your hands on the wheel. You are the master, the molder, the shaper of your own life. That's maybe the most empowering promise in the whole book, that you already have all the tools you need to completely transform your life. They're already inside you. Now, to make this whole concept really click, Alan gives us this amazing, simple metaphor, and we're going to really unpack it. He says, think of your mind as a garden. So here's the deal with the mind garden analogy. Just like a piece of land, your mind is always going to grow something. It can't stay empty. So the real question isn't if something will grow, but what will grow. And that comes down to one thing. Are you going to cultivate it, or are you just going to let it run wild? And this really breaks down the two paths you can take. On one hand, you can be the master gardener of your own mind, right? Carefully planting these useful, pure thoughts, which will eventually grow into a beautiful, purposeful life. Or you can just ignore it, let it go. And if you do that, well, nature's going to do its thing. Weeds of doubt, fear, and negativity will just take over. And you'll end up with a harvest you definitely didn't sign up for. Okay, so we've got the garden metaphor down, but how exactly do these little seeds in our head turn into the world we see around us? Well, this next part lays out the step by step process from a tiny thought to your actual life circumstances. It's actually a pretty simple three-step chain reaction. First, a thought gets planted in your mind. That's the seed. Then, if you keep thinking it, it starts to take root and crystallizes into a habit. That's the sprout. Finally, you repeat that habit enough times and bam, it solidifies into your actual circumstances. The harvest. See? It's a direct line from thought to habit to reality. And let's get real for a second about what this looks like. If the seeds you're always planting are things like hate or jealousy or fear, well, those are going to grow in some pretty nasty habits. And those habits, they end up hardening into a life full of conflict, pain, and even physical sickness. The harvest always matches the seed. But here's the beautiful flip side of that. And thank goodness for it, right? If you plant seeds of love, of kindness, of forgiveness, and you really tend to them, they're going to grow into habits of peace and self control. And those habits will blossom into a life that's genuinely prosperous, calm, and full of great relationships. It works both ways. You always reap what you sow. And this quote, man, this is one of the big ones. Circumstance does not make the man, it reveals him to himself. What that really means is that your life situation isn't just random luck, it's a mirror. It's literally just reflecting your inner world back at you. It's showing you, plain as day, what kind of garden you've been growing in there. And get this, it's not just about your job or your relationships. Alan says this principle extends right into your physical health. Your body is basically the servant of your mind. So sickly, anxious thoughts can literally break your body down. But strong, pure, happy thoughts, they build it up. They give you energy and vitality. Okay, so I think we're getting the principle right, but the big question is, how do we actually do this? Well, this next section is all about the practical application. It's about taking this knowledge and putting it to work using the power of purpose and vision. And this right here is the absolute key. See, without a real purpose, your thoughts just kind of drift. They're like a ship without a rudder, just pushed around by the waves. But the second you attach those thoughts to a clear, definite purpose, they stop being aimless. They become this focused, creative force that can power you towards any destination you choose. You know, Alan says that the dreamers are the real saviors of the world. And when you think about it, it makes perfect sense. The composer hears that beautiful music in her head long before anyone else does. The architect sees the skyscraper in their imagination. Every single bit of human progress started as a vision in someone's mind. The dreamers are the ones who use purposeful thought to literally build our world. The book shares this perfect little story about it. There's this young guy, he's poor, stuck in a workshop, but he doesn't just complain. He holds this clear, vivid dream of a better life. So he starts working on his mind, using his spare time to grow. And what happens? His outer world starts to change to match his new inner world. Fast forward a few years, and he's this total master of his own mind, living out the exact ideal he created for himself. It shows you the path is real. So please, whatever you do, don't write off your dreams as just silly fantasies. Alan says they're more like prophecies. That vision you hold for yourself, that's a promise of what you're going to be one day. And your ideal? That's a little sneak peek of the person you're eventually going to become. So, what's the end game here? After all this work, tending your mental garden, chasing your ideal, what's the ultimate prize? Well, it's not just about getting a better job or a bigger house. It's about reaching this incredible state of inner peace. Alan has a word for it: serenity. He calls it one of the beautiful jewels of wisdom. And here's the thing: it's not something you just stumble upon, it's something you earn. It's the result of long, patient work in self control and mastering your own mind. It's like the perfect, ripe fruit from a garden you've tended for years. And how do you get there? By really, truly getting this whole law of thought thing. Once you see yourself as a being that's literally created by your thoughts, you just stop fussing. You stop worrying and grieving over things because you realize you're just reacting to the effects. Instead, you go straight to the source, the cause, which is always your thoughts. Really, it all boils down to this powerful formula. Thinking the right way, that gives you mastery. Controlling yourself, that gives you strength. And putting those two together, that creates calmness. And that calm state, according to Alan, is the ultimate form of power. So we end up right back where we started, but now we see it all differently, don't we? If your thoughts are the tools and your life is what you're building with them, then the only question left to ask yourself is this: what are you going to build? The tools, the power, it's all been in your hands the whole time.